All right, welcome back to the Contractor Growth Roadmap Training. We gave you an overview before, and now we're going to start digging into the different phases of a business, right? The first one being startup. And again, startup, you're doing probably under 500K. Some of you guys are squeezing over the 500K mark, but it's about 500K, right? So when we talk about attraction, which really is marketing, what is it that we need to focus on inside of this phase of business, right? So the first thing that we want to do is define who is it that we want to work with, right? So we think about this. Who do I want to work with? You're going to define, hey, I want to work with homeowners who live in the north side area, who make at least $250,000 a year and who struggle with, finding the time to do home repairs, right? Very specific. And we have an exercise. You guys will get the link down below in the comments. It's called our ITA exercise, and it's all around helping you define your ideal target audience, right? The better you can get at defining your ideal target audience, the better likelihood you will have of attracting their attention, which is the first phase of business, okay? Now, you have to figure out what is it that I want to do for them, right? One of the things that you want to look at is what product and or service do you have? Now, as a contractor, usually this is pretty cut and dry, but there could be an opportunity for you to segment a little bit more. And they say the riches is in the niches, right? So you could be a general electrician, absolutely. Or you could solely focus on commercial work, or you could solely focus on TI improvements, or you could solely focus on new build, or you could solely focus on home repairs, right? So there's different options inside of each category. You just have to get specific on what particular product and or service you want to offer. The next thing we look at is differentiation, right? What makes you different from, keeping with the same example, every other electrician, right? Sure, you can string some wires together, but if you look like every other electrician out there, then how are they going to decide which one to use? You guessed it, on price. And price, my friends, is a race to the bottom, and we don't want to be involved in that. The next thing we look at is your offer. What is it that you're actually offering them? If you're remodeling a home, are you offering to remodel a home? Sure. But what else could you include inside of that offer? Could you offer free design work? Could you offer free whole house cleanup when you're done? Could you offer to send them away on a 2 or 3 day vacation while you wrap everything up and then turn the house over to them? See, there's different things that you can offer inside of your package that will ultimately make you more attractive and differentiate you from the market, right? Then the last piece, which is bundling. If someone says, for example, I need a patio in my backyard, okay, cool, they want a patio. What about a fireplace? What about any audio video work? What about landscaping? What about a pool? And you can start to bundle these additional services with a network that you build that makes you more attractive. Instead of them having to go to 6 different contractors to figure out their backyard, they go to you, and you, because of your connections, can bundle all of these services together. The next question we're answering is, where are they at, right? Again, very specific geographic location. It could be different neighborhoods. It could be where do these people like to hang out, right? If you're going after a wealthier demographic in a certain part of town, there's probably tennis clubs, or there's wineries, or there's golf courses, right? And so we start to figure out, where do I have to be in order to rub elbows or connect with these type of people? Also, it's not just about where they're at, right? But it's also, how am I networking with the people, if you will, who have access to my people? I, for example, network with a lot of realtors. I network with a lot of insurance agents. I network with a lot of people outside of the contracting space who have connections to contractors. It allows me to build a relationship with someone who can introduce me to my people. So, for example, you might build relationships with realtors or insurance agents, or possibly other trades, maybe some builders, depending on what you do, definitely some investors, and then, of course, the old faithful networking group, right? Now, how is it that we reach them? There could be parties or events that you host or that you sponsor. There could be networking events that you participate in, or, hey, it's not dead. It's 2023 and it's still not dead. Knocking doors. You could just go out and knock doors, which still happens, right? How are you reaching these people? Another thing you could look at is referrals, right? When and how do we ask for referrals? These are things we have to start identifying inside of startup mode when it comes to attraction, right? How much are you willing to pay, in other words, to have somebody look at your product or service, or be sold on your product and service. The next thing that we look at inside of startup phase is conversion, which is your sales, right? This is when we're still trying to dial in our price. Some of you guys are still kind of winging it. I work with contractors all the time. When they tell me their price, I cringe because they're either charging too much or they're charging way too little, leaving money on the table, right? So how do you determine your price? The first thing you need to determine is your profit margin, right? How much do I want to make? Then you know how much you need to charge in order to make money. You also need to understand the market rate. You know, a lot of things can happen, the economy, the environment, the seasons. So understand your market, which will also help you determine what it is that you should be charging. You also need to master a sales process. Now, totally get it. Most of you did not go to sales school. Like, you grew up in the trades, or you were introduced to the trades and you got really good at swinging a hammer, tightening a pipe, or something else. But you're going to have to master the sales process if you're going to grow your business. Why? Because you will not grow a business without selling what it is that you have. Okay. Now, there's a very basic sales process that I like to talk about: problem, pain, possibility, path. In other words, what is the problem that your potential client is dealing with? What is the pain that this problem is causing them? What is the possibility that they want? You know, you could say a roof. They don't want a leaky roof. That's what they want, right? And then the path. You are the solution to the problem, okay? Very simple framework, but use it to understand how to set up your sales conversations so you can close more deals. And again, master the follow-up process. Why? Because the fortune is in the follow-up. 97% of people are not ready to buy right away. 97%. So what are you doing with the other percentage of people that you are not closing, right? Fortune is in the follow-up. Come up with a follow-up process to be able to call people back, so on and so forth. I had some concrete guys here in the office earlier today, and we were talking about that. And I said, how many deals did you do last year? And they're like 50. I said, okay, how many of those have you followed up with? They said, none. I said, how many outstanding estimates do you have? They said, 40. I said, how many of those have you followed up with, right? They don't necessarily need to go knock on more doors or need to go shake hands and kiss more babies. What they need to do is follow up. When it comes to delivery then, in startup phase, we're focused on how are we delivering our product or service. Some of you guys, you do this by yourselves. Not a bad thing, not a good thing, just the reality of the thing, right? Some of you guys use employees. Some of you use subs, or some of you use a combination. There's no right or wrong answer, but we're starting to dial it in based off of our business model, what makes the most sense for us. And then when it comes to expansion, we're looking at three things. The first thing is locking in your process. A very, very basic process. How am I marketing? A very basic process. How am I selling? A very basic process. How am I fulfilling? Okay. The next thing you need to look at is what's called a CRM. That's a customer relationship manager. Now, we have some specific partnerships that we're coming up with, and we'll have some training on this, but we like to use a CRM to keep track of your leads and what needs to happen with them next, right? You could keep track of it in a notebook, but odds are that notebook is going to fill up and you're going to be flipping through pages trying to find things. You could be trying to do it in your head, but odds are you're like me and you don't have a huge capacity inside of there. So a CRM is what will save your life. And then the last piece is QuickBooks. Trust me now when I tell you, get your books in order when you're small, because when you grow, it gets infinitely more difficult. I worked with contractors who have made it up to $2.5 million a year and did not use QuickBooks. You don't even want to know how ugly their financial situation was, right? No idea whether they were making money or not. So for you guys at the bottom here, you're going to see some resources that are attached. The first one is an ITA sheet, right? Your ideal target audience sheet is going to help you with your attraction process. The next thing is determine your price sheet. It's a little shortcut that is going to help you figure out how you should price yourself in your market. The third piece is things to think about when determining how to deliver your product or service. This will help you clean up your delivery process. And the last piece, as I was mentioning before, we're going to have a resource for Expand. It's going to be our CRM guide. So that's all going to be down below. Again, this is startup phase when it comes to your contracting business. Under 500K, if you're in this phase, these are the things that you should be focused on. Don't focus on Facebook ads right now. Don't focus on hiring a massive team. Doesn't matter. Get the foundation in place first. All right, you guys know what time it is. It's time to get after it. 3, 2, 1. Off you go.